check something, our awakened mind. And that's the wonderful thing about this practice. So we're getting to know, we're getting to see more clearly our mind. And I remember from Chogyal Namkhai Norbu, his so often saying that the main things were relax and observe your mind. And these two aspects are exactly what we focus on, what we practice in Shine. So this method is the first in the 4 contemplations of Semde. We first calm our mind, get to know the calm state of our mind, and then we, second stage, integrate with movement more. Then we integrate with both of them together. And then Lundrub, perfection, we integrate with all of our situations. So this is a process that we get to know intimately as we continue practice. Shine is a wonderful practice to do alone. It's also a great way to settle down before you do another practice. And Chogyal Namkhai Norbu always said that Semde practices were really important to Dzogchen students, that so many people want to jump right into the Upadesha and do a fun practice, but that it's important to settle down with Shine first. So it's great that this is one of the first classes that we're having in this series. So Shine, we usually spell it S-H-I-N-E with an accent aigu, but that would, I know in Europe we pronounce our letters a little differently. Shi means calm or peaceful, and Ne means condition. So Shine is experiencing the calm state, your calm condition, and learning how to do this. To start, I'd like to read from this book, The 4 Contemplations of Semde, that is taken from talks that Namkhai Norbu gave. It's a really wonderful book that's listed on your resources, I believe. And I'm going to read a bit from page 23. A calm state or peaceful condition is a fundamental prerequisite for practice. As we're often disturbed and find ourselves caught up in mental confusion without even realizing it, it is crucial for us to find the calm state. What is the first thing to do? First of all, we need to find a bit of calm. We often say, let us relax a little. The word relax is beautiful. It's easy to say, but not easy to do. If you invite a nervous person to relax, he or she or yourself will just get more nervous. No one is happy to be nervous. Anger, nervousness, and confusion are not a choice. They're triggered by a chain reaction that's often subconscious. So this is a wonderful introduction to why a great starting place is the practice of Shine. So, let's start with this. Let's start by doing this practice to find the calm state. There are actually 4 stages in Shine. The first is fixation on an object. The second is fixation without an object. The third is called movement, and the fourth, stable Shine. And today we're going to do fixation with an object. And this is probably the practice that we keep doing for a long time. If you get one of the books, you can read about how these progress. But it's not like you achieve one, you go on to the next, and build them. You may have little insights into each that aren't so stable as the 4th stage of stable Shine. So that's the idea. Let's do this practice of fixation on an object. So first of all, you need an object. And the object we're going to use is the symbol Ah. So we can use the Tibetan symbol. We can use the symbol in whatever language is easiest to recognize. If you're looking at a Tibetan Ah and trying to figure out what it looks like, maybe that's not the greatest idea, because the symbol Ah is the representation of the sound Ah. Everybody just say Ah. Ah. It's a very relaxing sound. It's a sound that's used in many traditions, many religions. Alleluia. Yahweh. Amen. Allah. All using sound Ah, which as a musician I appreciate so much, because I've played with so many choruses which are singing something like Amen. Very little men in it, and lots of Amen. Ah. So the sound can be used in many ways. And the way we use this sound to sound it is generally Ah. So what we're going to do right now, you can put your hand on your chest if you like. We're going to feel the vibrations of this sound, because Ah is really about the vibrations, not just an idea of Ah. And when we sound Ah, like right now, we don't feel vibrations. We don't feel vibrations in our chest. But as we say it, see if you can feel it inside or through your hand. Go ahead, we're all muted. Say it a few times and feel that the reverberations, that the sound, the vibrations of this sound. You don't have to do it with me, just on your own. Ah. I was going to say, ah, this sound is relaxing. I love sound because it goes out and it really doesn't have a boundary. It doesn't stop where the walls of our room are. So it's this sound of awe that we're going to use in the practice of Shine. Let's do it again. I'm going to change my screen view so I can see you better. Oops, I did it again. And sound awe. See if you can feel the relaxation quality of this sound. Tell me, raise your hand. Are you connecting with this quality? People, raise your hand. Pretty much. So is like the first sound, mama. It's the basic sound that language is built on. It has no other vowels. It has no consonants. And when we say it, it's good to say instead of Do you hear the difference? We're not going to start with a consonant of a hard but and we'll use this sound in the meditation. I think I saw a hand up. Would someone like to ask a question live? I'll also leave some more time later for it. We'll go on, and as we do the meditation, you're welcome to click on the raise hand icon, and at the end, I know we're going to leave some times for questions altogether. Okay, so we're going to use an image of awe also, and we're going to put this awe on a stick. You won't have it today, probably, but I'll show you. There we go. So here I have a dowel, a base, and a post-it that I've put a symbol on. Now we're going to put this in front of us, slightly down. Today, if you don't have a symbol, see if you can put something small, about the size of your thumb pad. It could be a small pebble. You could put it on a table in front of you, on the ground. And you will need a taller stick if you're sitting in a chair. Now here's what I made, not having a dowel and a stick that someone made me. This is a jar of dried beans, black beans, into which I put a stick. Anybody want to guess as to what this is? Okay. It doesn't have the symbol, but it's about 4 wads of chewing gum that I made into the correct size. So you can be adventurous. I'm going to use this and place it in front of me before we start this practice. If you want to find something that you can put, that's fine. If not, just find a spot at about that place to put in front of you. A lot of people in the Dzogchen community also have a bigger awe that's inside the tigle, so the awe is representing light the tigle, the light, we have the sound, the light, and the rays going out. You can use this, but I find that it's better for Shine to have a more simple image. So we're not going to look at, ooh, look at that, very basic and simple. There are practices which involve visualization of that awe that has the tigle and rays. And if you can put that on your stick later on and have something in front of you that you can learn that visualization. For now, can you see the stick in front of me? Is my name, okay. I think my name is taking up too much room and I want you to see that. So allow me a second to make it smaller. And you'll probably see more. Oh, sorry, I get to do this again. Is that better? You can see a little more. You can say a lot. Okay, maybe I should use a taller stick. That you can see. Okay, I have an A in front of me. It's too high at this point to raise the stick, so I'm not going to use it. Okay, for this practice, since we're going to look at the symbol that we put in front of us, it may be helpful to take your glasses off if you find that your vision is getting too tense, like you're looking through too strong a lens, and it makes you nervous or tense. You can take your glasses off. In Dzogchen, and in fact in Tibet, there are recognized to be 3 aspects of a being. The first is called body, the second, voice or speech, and the third is mind. And we use all 3 of these in our meditation. We're not just going to meditate with our mind. Body represents our physical body, this tangible reality, the environment, the world, basically our material existence. Voice represents energy, and it has to do with sound, like when we sounded the ah. It also has to do with our breath, which has to do with the energy of being alive and breathing in and out, and it can have to do with communication with other people. And the third is mind. And mind in Tibetan can be sems, which is referring to our obstructed mind, our thinking mind, our distracted mind. But sometimes, watch out, like when you're reading this book, sem can be an abbreviation for Changchu sem, which is enlightened, vast nature of mind, which we can come to experience through this practice. So, in this practice, we're pretty much working with thoughts. We'll do this in the 3 aspects. And after each, I can take a little pause and you can ask a question if anything comes up. I always remember Chogyal Namkai Norbu beginning any practice instruction by saying, take a comfortable seat. And you'll find this again and again in the practices we do in Dzogchen. So that's what we're doing first here. It's a seat in which we can be comfortable. We can be upright and relaxed and comfortable for a period of time. Not a sofa, which is another kind of comfortable, but this one is an awake comfortable. As we go through these aspects of the position, I'd like you to actually feel each, sense each. Don't just do each, cross your legs, okay. Feel these, and I'll try to remember to remind you to do this. The first thing we do is stretch. Stretch to relax. Go ahead. It's really helpful. And generally when we begin this practice, if we know the 9 breathings, we'll do them first. Are the 9 breathings being taught next?
Next week.
Great. Thank you so much. So we don't have to go through those, but that people who meditate in Shine find that it really makes a difference to do the 9 breathings first in terms of relaxing. Right now we're just doing the stretching, which is a good start. And now we're going to align our body in the 7 aspects of Vairochana. Vairochana being a Dzogchen teacher, the teacher who taught Yantra Yoga, got it from Garab Dorje, and taught Yantra. So we start, first aspect is being seated. You may be seated in a chair or on the floor, whatever is comfortable for you for a while. If you're on the floor, some people can do, the full lotus. Not necessary. You can't quite see my legs, but I'm on a taller cushion so that my thighs are about even with the floor. They go only slightly down. And you want to make careful that your knees aren't up, because that's a position which will not be helpful for your back. If you're seated in a chair, don't lean back. You might want to put a cushion on the back of the chair. If the chair seat leans back, make up for that by making a flat surface. And place your feet on the floor. If you need a cushion for your feet, you can do that too. Okay. So we're seated. Take a minute to feel gravity going into your thighs, going into your bottom. Feel this. This is our groundedness. And we're going to keep in touch with this throughout Shine. Second aspect is that we place our hands, palms down, on our thighs. Now, we don't want to be too far forward, and we don't want to lean back. You can just let your hands be loose, and then let them come up on your thighs and rest. Take a minute to add that to our sensations. See if your hands feel comfortable too. The third is that our back is straight. This is important for aligning our channels and our energy, and for staying in meditation and not getting backaches because we're crooked. I would like to show you the way I find this, which I kind of picked up from doing Tai Chi, where you sort of imagine that you're being suspended and your body can hang down rather than holding your body up. So what I do is take a piece of my hair at the back of my head and pull up. From an exaggerated point, I might, if you're a little like this, notice that your chin is out, your back is crooked, you do this, and it raises you, almost as if there's more space between the vertebrae. And if you don't have hair on the top of your head, which a lot of men especially don't, place that there and imagine that it's a cord pulling you up. That's just my trick for straight back. It's also good to practice with other people and have them check you, or look in a mirror sideways, or do a Zoom session with yourself and see if you look straight. I did it again, not meaning to. We're going on to the fourth aspect, so which relieves you of this chin gawking out a bit. Do you notice how, if you're pulled up, your chin is tucked in a bit? So that aspect, that's the fourth aspect, and I think it straightens your neck so that your channel doesn't become kinked right there. The fourth is that since you're straight, your shoulders are relaxed. You don't have to hold yourself up. Shoulders are relaxed, and your chest is open. It doesn't often say your chest is open, but it is when you're not holding yourself. So before we go on to our face, check in with how you're seated on the cushion. Your hands, your straight back, your chin tucked in, and your shoulders relaxed. The next aspect is that your face is relaxed. So you can see, does your forehead feel tense? And especially put your awareness in your jaw. For this practice, our teeth don't touch, our lips don't touch. That's the one I most often forget, and most people forget. The lips are slightly open, and place the tongue on the top of your upper palate. And then when you breathe, there will be a bit of air that goes in and out of your mouth as well as your nose. Lastly, our eyes are open. Many other meditations from Sutra have you close your eyes, create your own inner space. But in Dzogchen, we include everything in our experience. Everything in our sight, our hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. We don't close anything off. So the eyes open represents being open to our environment and not closing off to anything. And we made our spot for the awe or whatever we're going to focus on. So your eyes will go slightly down. It's a little easier to figure out if you have awe on a stick, but it would be slightly down, kind of like down the slope of your nose, but probably not that far down. And our eyes, for now, are going to rest on our object. The idea here is that in general, our attention is directed by our eyes. Whatever we look at, we're perceiving and or thinking about. So for this practice, to calm the mind, we're going to direct the gaze on one object. So all together, let's review the aspects of the body. Seated, we can feel our weight. Hands relaxed on our thighs. Back straight. Chin tucked in. Shoulders relaxed. Face relaxed. Mouth slightly open. With the tongue on the top of the palate. And your eyes open, looking at the object in front of you. We'll do this for about a minute. That was the aspect of body. I forgot to mention that you can blink. We're not keeping our eyes open and letting them get dry. And I also didn't mention that you don't have to stay still like a statue. If you realize you're in a position that doesn't work, you may adjust it, particularly if you're uncomfortable. We're trying to find that comfortable seat. If there are any pressing questions about the body, we could do that now, or we can go on to the other aspects and save our questions for the end. Okay. Take your comfortable seat in the second 7 aspects of position. And this time, notice the movement of your breath. In and out. Maybe you feel your lungs expanding, contracting, your belly going out and in. This is the voice or speech aspect of meditation. It doesn't take over the body, but in addition to the body, we feel the movement of our breath. So we'll do this for about a minute before we go on to the next aspect. I usually find that after practicing for a while, sitting for a while, my breath deepens. There may be a sudden point where and this happens naturally. And so eventually we will probably have deeper breaths, but the recommendation is to not try to breathe deeply.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes,
there is
please.
a question. There is a question in the chat, so I can read it for you.
Please.
Someone is asking whether there should be absolutely no discomfort in the body.
That's a really good question and a really good aspect to bring up. A couple things. One, we're going to start by sitting for short periods, so we won't develop the aspect of overdoing something. Same kind of thing as if we start exercising suddenly. Second thing is, I think it takes a while to find a position in which we're comfortable. If I could see you, I could help you, maybe your legs are too high or, your back isn't straight. Eventually, you want to find a position pretty much free from pain. And we might notice, well, is my discomfort from sitting still? In which case you might want to do Vajra dance instead of sitting still, which is a great practice. Or like if my arms were out like this, it would create a lot of strain. So I think the first thing you want to do is to see if you're sitting in the best position for being straight and comfortable and relaxed. So I would investigate this. Some people have particular problems that, like if your knee is killing you, don't blow your knee out. Don't overlook pain and have it become a problem. So I sit with my legs crossed, which you can't quite see. They're relaxed. This is relaxed for me. Sit in a chair, that might be better. But again, you have to find a seat in which your thighs are about level with the ground, your knees might be a little lower. And I would try finding this position and then saying ah, which can relax your body in this position. And we're going to move on to that next. So it takes some investigation, perhaps some help with people. Is that a good answer or enough of an answer?
And here is another question.
Yes.
It's the fact that breathing has become deeper.
I'm sorry.
It's a fact that breathing has become deeper. Or maybe this is not a question, maybe
Is that a
this
question?
It's a fact that breathing has become deeper. Maybe it's not a question, maybe it's just an
A
observation.
confirmation. Great. I think we're going to move on and take body questions next. That question was about voice, and someone did experience the breath becoming deeper. Don't feel bad if you didn't experience that. And doing the 9 breathings will really deepen your breath. Now we're going to go on to mind and how we work with mind by how we work with the focus in front of us. So again, take your position. If you were uncomfortable before, try something different. Feel the weight of your body going into your bottom, into your thighs. Feel your palms. Put at a place where your shoulders are relaxed. Make your back straight. Check that your chin is tucked in. Relax your face. Have your mouth be slightly open, tongue on the upper palate. Feel a little breath going in and out of the mouth as well as the nose. And your eye gaze stays on the spot in front of you. That's our body aspect. Now touch in with your breath. Notice how it is. If it's not slow, don't change it. Just feel how your condition is. That's fine. In Dzogchen, we're not trying to change our condition. Now, for the aspect of mind, we're going to work with different ways that we focus on the awe in front of us. Right now, put all of your attention on that awe. Sharply focus on that awe. just look at the awe. Enough of that. Did you get a feeling of that sharp focus? Raise your hand if you got a little feeling of it. Okay, that's also called triangular fixation. So if you take your two eyes and point them to an object, that makes a triangle. But that makes me tense, and it's only the starting place. Now, the idea of this fixation is that if we're sharply focused on the symbol, we can't think. We can't, there's no room for anything else if we're just looking at that. So that's an aspect of doing this Shine practice. The second aspect is that once we're one pointed, we can say, ah, or we can just relax without sounding ah. Most people find it really helpful, and myself included, to relax, to first sharply focus and sound the ah, which seems to relax my body because I'm still in touch with body, physical sensations, open my lungs. Now, the downside to relaxing is that when we relax, we kind of let in the door for lots of thoughts. And while thoughts aren't bad, we don't want to get carried away with them. Oh, I wonder when this is going to be over. Oh, I could eat something. I'm really hungry. What's in the fridge? So that's like a chain of thoughts. And I might be able to sit an hour like that, just thinking, which is not the ideal. You may notice after a few thoughts that you've been carried away. And when you're not engaged with body, voice, and mind, simply in this dimension, you start over with your sharp fixation. And when you feel like you're one-pointed, you relax it. Let's do that again. Body, controlled and relaxed. Breath, and focus on the ah. Then relax. And I would suggest that you sound ah with that relaxation. Not with me, but when it feels good to do. Ah. those were pretty much the instructions for doing Shine practice. And we didn't talk a lot about thoughts, but a little bit about that there are thoughts that just happen and don't distract us. And there are thoughts that really get us up, like maybe really riled up emotionally too. Thoughts that make us happy, thoughts that make us angry, blah, blah, blah thoughts, so. And they're just thoughts. We don't judge them as being good thoughts, bad thoughts, big thoughts, little thoughts. They're all just thoughts. And if they distract us, this is what we're noticing. This is what we're observing. We don't try to get rid of thoughts. Stop it. So don't be angry at your thoughts. And we just do this again and again. This is our practice. The final goal of non-thought isn't the same as in sutra. It's not that we get rid of our thoughts, but that we're not disturbed by them. This way we can stay in the world. We can engage. We don't just have to be in a bubble of bliss, which is what one can create through just doing the shamatha practice. So this is what we can practice. We're going to do another practice, but before we do, I think some things may come up, which are, how often should I do this? How long should I do this? And the recommendation is short sessions. A lot of us started with doing an hour practice twice a day, or doing nintens a whole weekend, or doing datans a whole month. We're not going for endurance, but we're doing for practice with a light touch that we can keep doing. So a few minutes is actually encouraged in the beginning. That's fine. My personal recommendation, knowing a little bit about neuroscience and how we actually learn how the brain trains, is to do short practices as often as you can. Daily is great. 5 minutes in the morning is better, more efficient, more workable than an hour on the weekend. You keep reminding yourself of this, and then as you go about your day, a little bit of this stays with you. Now, in the final aspect of this, there's no difference in sitting and getting off your cushion. So this integrates into your life. Right now we're practicing on our cushion, but it's a skill of observing our mind that we're learning in this practice of Shine.
We have a question. Excuse me.
1 second. I want to say one thing else because I want to spend all the rest of the time on questions, which is that as you practice, you can place some attention on your body, some on your breath, and some on your mind. Don't lose those 3 aspects. And lastly, I want to say, don't judge your meditation. Don't judge it if you think it's good because you didn't think, or bad because you forgot to become aware. that's what I'd like to say. And now I'd love to hear the questions. I think somebody's had, I can't see well. Awana, do you have a question?
I can. I just wanted to read the questions that some people have written in the chat. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay. So Victor is asking, can the picture blur or should we see it clearly?
I think with that, I think we want to see it clearly. It can blur if we get too focused. And it doesn't, it can be too sharp if we're doing that fixation. Pretty much, we want it to be clear without overdoing it. If we overdoing it, it could become a picture of an elephant. You can hallucinate different things. So work with, to Victor, work with the distance that you place that awe away from you and find the place where it's clear and most relaxed to rest your eyesight on it. And if you're wearing glasses, try taking your glasses off.
And there is another one from Gergely. Is it possible to look in the space in front of me without object?
Okay, that is the next stage of this. It's very good to begin with this. See if you can do this practice. There are different stages to the practice. I would develop this because that's what Namkhai Norbu has instructed us to. Now, if you find that you can sit for an hour without being distracted, take it away and stare into space where you put your awe. There will be different instructions later on, such as raising your gaze or being outside when you look. But I would say, see how this works for you. I always encourage people to do the instructions as they've been taught because we've all had different meditation instructions and practices, and it's good to try this one.
And Sergi is asking, sorry, couldn't hear clearly. For people who use glasses, you're suggesting to practice without them?
Sorry you can't hear well, and we may have replays available so you can listen again. Try taking your glasses off. If you are really nearsighted and you're looking at something that's not that close, it can make your vision tight. So you can rest your eyes on that. Oh, now I'm realizing that when I do that, it's not as clear. And I said earlier it should be clear. So if you find that your vision is too sharp with your glasses, take them off. You can try. We can all take this practice home and see how it works, and everybody will make little adjustments. Is there another question? Would someone like to raise your hand?
There is another question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I'm not able to read the name of the person. With regular and proper practice, will the distraction disappear on its own?
I would say to that, that with the intent to do this practice, the distractions will get less and less, fewer and fewer, but they won't do that on their own. They'll do that because you're working with your mind in that way. And then, yes, you can reach the point where you don't have distractions. And I read in one of Rinpoche's books that if you reach that point where you can do this for an hour, you move on to the next stage. Is that if you've written a question and you're not satisfied by the answer, or I've misunderstood it, let me know. I'll try again. We have a few minutes left.
And one more question from Dorzong. Dorzong is asking, should we abandon Shine after being able to find our Rigpa? Is there any benefit remaining? Did you find it useful to integrate our own state even more in our daily life?
That's a big question that goes all the way to the end. The end of someday. I think it's really valuable to continue this path and further clarify what Rigpa is. With this, we will recognize the calm state. We will learn to recognize movement. We will learn to recognize that there is no difference in the calm state and movement, and we will become the calm state and movement. At that point, it's the same as Rigpa, and we're able to go in the world. I think this entire path of someday is a good way to develop how awake you are. So I wouldn't discount it if you feel like, and in fact, I have to say also, by doing Shine and having the calm state, you may recognize Rigpa right from that state. So it's wonderful for giving you that opportunity. If you're always in Rigpa 24/7, maybe learn it so you can teach others. And I do recommend this book. By the way, I also really recommend the Song of the Vajra for everybody. It's very clear about someday as well as every other practice we have. This is a little book, The Four Contemplations of Someday, which is very old. No. The Four Contemplations in the Dzogchen Someday, which is slightly different. If you really can do this and if you really want to get into technique and all the different aspects of this, we have an introduction to the practice of contemplation. We have Shine and Loktong in the Dzogchen tradition. Now this book gets more deeply into sub-stages of the major stages. And teachings on someday by Sudokpa Lodro Gyaltsen, which really goes over what Namkhai Norbu taught in Santi Maha Sangha level 1, 2, and 3. So he taught 3 levels on SEM day. So it's valuable. Most people, and myself included, for practicing, it's these 3 books, which will be on your site or something. They give the best experiential description of doing this practice and coming back to it. So I'd like to close by us doing a short session of meditation, a minute or 2. And then we will dedicate the merits, which means in our mind, we will give away any benefit that this has had. Any goodness, we give it away to all the suffering beings in existence. And then we chant the empowering mantra for this dedication. Here we go. Take a comfortable seat. Sense your legs, your hands, your back, chin, shoulders, relaxed face, mouth open, looking at the eye. Add to that the movement of your breath, your aliveness. And now use the technique of sharply focusing your eyes and not having a distracting thought. And relaxing with the sound of ah. From your heart, send any good experience, any blessings you can to other beings. Om Dare Dare Bandare Swaha Jaya Jaya Siddhi Siddhi Pala Pala Ahasha Sama Mama calling Samantha. Grazie. Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful to approach this practice together. I think Alana will have some things to say, but you're welcome to use the Sangha app to ask any questions you have either today or as you try this practice at home this week.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
if you have any other questions that you didn't have the chance to ask, then we can ask in the channel, and Lynn will be there to answer any doubts or questions that come up during your practice. And now I let Oksana
I'll be the
make
same.
the schedule announcement.
Yes, we will take a break 15 minutes. We prepare for short Gana Puja and we continue. We can meet in 15 minutes. Here is 10 p.m. I don't know, for someone else, maybe it's 9 p.m. For others. Anyway, it's in 15 minutes and we do short Gana Puja for full moon. So
I
we just.
apologize for not being there. I have violin students after this, so please join the Gana Puja.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everyone.
We meet
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank
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 you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.